Hello, and welcome to OurTurf's Football's Finsup Editions podcast. Joining me tonight is Paul Picken Jr. from On the Fin Side Radio. Paul, it has been a while.
I miss you.
I miss you. I always laugh at people. I said, when I talk to Paul, I feel like I learned something, man. We banter back and forth, and you tell me things, and I'm like, oh, really? I didn't hear that. So it's really nice to have you. It seems like things are getting back to normal, so I figured it was time that you and I kind of chatted again.
Well, as soon as you hit me up, my first answer was yes. Let me know when. Let's do it, because God,
Absolutely.
we even tried to do a show together for like a minute at one point in time.
Several
Yeah.
weeks ago. I think we're both kind of more seasoned a little bit now. So first of all, schedule came out this week, of course, as you know. No brainer, first two games, divisional games. So I wanted to kind of talk to you about that, where to me this schedule kind of favored the Dolphins as cold weather teams go with the Dolphins. We always usually end up in Buffalo or New England in December. Our latest game is like November 21st against the Jets. That's our kind of their coldest game, Paul. So
You mean the game that I'll be at,
The game
the
that
21st
you'll
against the Jets, with the 2,000 plus Dolphin fans from Dolphins NYC for the MetLife takeover? That Jets game up here.
that Jet game, yeah, definitely. So it's always a fun time up there. I love listening to the stories, and I always tell the guys I want to get up there. I gotta experience that one game.
You really do. Like, we would have seriously, because I'll be in New York for the weekend that weekend. It's such a good time. You would have such a blast. You need to get up here for it.
No, I'm going to. I told the fellas I definitely, like I said, but last year everything got put on hold, as you know. So I think this year is a little bit different, which is going to bring me into those two games starting off. Paul, I'm getting a sense from a lot of the fans where Tua is concerned. It's almost like this is his rookie season to me.
Mhm.
Because last year we had COVID. He had no preseason. Really couldn't get any kind of practice in with all the regulations and
The
he could
inability
be
to
the
walk
starts.
at this point in time.
Yeah. But to me, Paul, these are two divisional games. You have to win.
So you have to, at a minimum, split these two games, most likely. I mean, with the 17 game schedule now, you can recover even if you start out 0-2, but who wants to do that against, two divisional opponents especially? If you come out, you can make a statement right off the rip. It's even if they're a little depleted, the Patriots are still the Patriots. They're still the Bill Belichick Patriots. I'm the type of person that you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And these first two games are going to be a litmus test for that with the Patriots, with what the Bills have turned into now. It's Miami wants to make the statement that they're serious contenders for the crown. 2-0 against the Pats and Bills would be a heck of a way to start that statement.
I absolutely agree 100%. I also, on hindsight, think that, like you said, if we split this, the majority of the fan base are all in on Tua, while it seems like the national media, on some of the things that Flores has said that we're all in, there's also some flaws going on. I mean, do you see Flores doing the same thing with Tua as last year? Like, if we get into this Patriot game and he struggles, do you see him pulling him?
Not as likely this year. I think letting Fitzpatrick walk was a big statement in that regard. Flores has come out since and said that if Tua had been his day one starter last year, if they had had a full offseason, they had a full preseason, he wouldn't have pulled him in those games that he did. So that being the case, the fact that I like Jacoby Brissett, I think he's an ideal backup, but he's not Ryan Fitzpatrick. And this is the year where he's had the full off season. He's in arguably the best shape of his life. He's worked with his wide receivers a little bit already. He's going to be handed all the tools and all the keys. He's going to be able to get the drive off that back hip this year, which is a big part of any type of throwing motion. And we need him to be the guy. I don't think San Francisco's pick is going to be high enough to go after or make a real serious run at a quarterback next year. And, you know, he's 2 years removed from everybody on the planet being in tank for Tua mode. And my biggest litmus test for Tua last year was, can he make it through a season healthy? That's it. He's got the skills, but could he make it through a season healthy? And he did. And he did it with not having that muscular strength back in that hip yet. And there were moments where he showed something special, even though he wasn't 100% and hadn't had the preseason. And at one point in time, his number 2 receiver was a guy that didn't even spend the whole year with the team in Isaiah Ford.
Yes.
And it didn't get much better from there. I like Mac Hollins. I don't want to see many scenarios where he's on the field as a wide receiver, let alone for 30 snaps a game. It's, you know, he didn't have the tools last year. Now, the tools he has this year, there really aren't a lot of excuses.
Yeah, because it seems like I think we have, 7 or 8 tight ends on this roster right now? We've got a stable full of some stud wide receivers.
We have 16 wide receivers and 7 tight ends last time I checked. Actually 8, because we signed Mel Blount's
juniors. Yep. Hall of Fame Mel Blount. So I was
basketball playing kid.
Basketball players, and they always laugh. Who catches touchdowns in the end zone? Basketball players. So he's definitely going to have some targets. My problem with him, Paul, was I kind of thought Flores kind of put the kid out there on the hook, especially pulling him. So because my thing was, minus the injuries, and I can kind of see what you're saying now as far as the hip, you know, maybe protect him. And like I said, we had a Ryan Fitzpatrick behind him. So, you know, I just got a little, you know, perturbed because I'm always one of those ones, if you take a quarterback in the first round, he needs to play. That was, and I've always said that, and I've always kind of, you know, I mean, you know, now Aaron Rodgers was an exception, but because he sat behind Brett Favre, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I can see, you know, no preseason, COVID really affected him. So I'm more looking at this as his rookie season than last year. And that's me, giving him the benefit of the doubt of saying, okay, you know, I saw some things I didn't kind of like from him. I need to see something. And I think the Patriot game, I'm okay. The Buffalo game, I think, will tell you where this Miami Dolphin team is.
Honestly, I mean, it's I would say, ask me where they're at after
6?
the London game.
Okay.
That's
6. That's 6 games, right? That's week 6? Because we always said that, right? 6 games in?
Yep. Ask me where they're at then. Okay.
We'll do a show. We're going to mark it right now.
All right. 6. Yes, please.
Week 6.
Put me in magic marker, Sharpie me in.
I'm going to put you in because it'd be interesting because I think we always said that. And Dana and I always kind of talk about, I think 5 or 6, week 6, you really know what you got going on.
Yeah. There's so many things to shape up. There's still a lot of new bodies in the building. There's plenty to figure out, and Tua's going to need a little time to figure things out too. And one thing I'll go back to with last year and what we were just talking about is it told me a lot about Tua's character, the way that he handled that situation. And it told me a lot when there are always things that go on. I mean, we've been down there and talked to a number of Dolphin legends and current players, and you name it. There are always things that go on communication-wise and planning-wise on those sidelines and in those locker rooms that we're not privy to and we don't know. Right. And by all accounts, based on and this, you know, some of it had to do with reading between the lines. The plan was always in place and well communicated and well handled with Tua and Fitzpatrick as far as the transition, as far as, hey, look, if we're in a position where we need a spark, Ryan can do that. and we might throw him in, see what happens. If it's basically a lost cause game, but hey, maybe we can pull it out if we can get a spark out there. And so they all seem to be on the same page with it. So I could make up some story, but who am I to argue at that point? Like, all three parties involved and the rest of the team seem to be on the same page without skipping a beat as far as that went.
Yeah, and I think with that, totally understandable. The thing what kind of tweaks me
It
on
was
that
weird.
one is Ryan Fitzpatrick was going to be that starting quarterback that last game before he got COVID. Tua wasn't even going to start. We all know that. Ryan was going to start that game.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like, wow. I mean, this is the guy you took in the first round. This is the guy you put in as your starter that you pulled 2 games to get that spark. Kind of fizzled out towards the end of the season. So that's kind of where the taste in my mouth is that he was kind of going a little bit decline there in the end. So I'm going to have to see a good spark these two games coming out here to come out of the gate. I think he needs to have a strong start.
And where I'm at too is I'm excited to see what Godsey and company can do as far as game planning goes, because it was almost as if Chan Gailey, I hated the way Chan Gailey called the game when Tua got in, and I don't feel it was it didn't feel like it was Tua wasn't ready for what Chan Gailey could have called. It felt like Chan wasn't ready for Tua to run the playbook that he designed for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, and that's, you've got to be flexible and adaptable as a football coach. You've got to flex your mojo as far as who's on the field and who's not at any given moment. And if you can't adapt, it is time for you to retire, which I was glad to see Chan Gailey retired for the 4th time, trying to give Brett Favre a run for his money as retirements go.
And then, like I said, it'll be different play calling this year. I think we're going to have co-offensive play calls. Are you okay with that, or would you like to see one guy do it?
If it works for them, I'm okay with it. If they're able to have that working relationship, I'm okay with it. When push comes to shove and we're in a critical crunch time, are they going to be able to be cohesive, or are we going to see 2 guys wrestling on the sideline trying to figure out if they're going to run or pass on that play? And that's going to be telling for me too, is I need to see it in action. It's been in action before. I think I looked at one point in time, and I apologize, I don't have it in front of me. The last few times that there have been co-coordinators on offense in the NFL, I believe each of those teams went to the playoffs. It's
a positive spin.
Yeah, it wound up working really well. And it's not like these guys are coming in cold. They've worked together on the sidelines. They took over when Gailey had COVID. And, you know, I believe that was the Cardinals game?
Yes.
If I remember correctly?
Yep.
The game that Tua looked his absolute best and like the first round pick that we thought he could be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got a couple first downs on his own. He scrambled a little bit more, and I think that was one of the things they kind of was missing from his game a little bit, was, like you said, that confidence to take off and take that first hit, those first initial hits, game after game. And like I said, I think that was one of his best games.
Yeah, and not just taking off and getting a few on his own, but taking the team on his back and, you know, completing difficult passes and all of the things from a leadership perspective. It's, you show confidence in a player, it's contagious as far as that player goes.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of players and contagious, now this next subject's got me a little miffed. I know, and you know where I'm going with this, because Bobby McCain was one of my favorite players on this team. I thought Bobby was a flow guy. Everything that Coach Flo has preached to the media, he's a player's coach. He likes leaders in the locker room. And people were like, oh, it's a cap space casualty. I didn't see it, Paul. I thought that when we selected Javon Hollard, I thought what a great addition, absolutely, to learn under Bobby, learn from Bobby. He's a team leader. He talks about Flo talks about culture, and now I'm second guessing my head coach because it's like I listen to you talk about culture, team players, character guys. That was Bobby McCain, and then they cut him. So
Yeah,
explain,
that was
you know,
heartbreaking.
it was, and I just kind of I'm a little confused, Paul, because it's like Flo comes out and is like this is a Flo guy. If anybody in the world player was a Flo guy, it was Bobby McCain. Everything
He
on.
he was the leader of that. He and Jerome Baker were the leaders of that defense. And if you want to know everything you need to know about what Bobby McCain was and how he performed, even if he didn't pack a stat sheet. And I apologize, I'm pulling something up while we're talking
No
here.
worries.
Um,
Well, I pulled up all the cap stuff, and
oh no, not even pulling up the cap stuff. I'm pulling up something weird here. Go back to the Kansas City Chiefs game. Watch. You've seen Draft Day.
yes,
It's you remember when they were looking at Bo Callahan and the linebacker called up and said, "Watch that game again, the one where I sacked him 4 times." And they're like, "Wow, Bo Callahan drove him down the field to win the game. This and that, you name it, blah blah blah." Wait, what's missing on that play? And the linebacker wasn't on the field. He'd gotten
Vontae
ejected
Mack
for
was
some
not on the field.
right, Vontae Mack. And you go back to that Chiefs game. Tyreek Hill looks like he destroyed the Dolphins in that game.
Is that is that the game McCain got hurt?
That was the game McCain got hurt, and then he ended up in the concussion protocol very briefly in the second half, I believe. So the first half, he missed a little time hurt. Second half, he missed a little time getting checked out for a concussion. Now, in the time he was gone, Tyreek Hill had a 44-yard touchdown. He had an end around for 32 yards and a touchdown. And he had another catch for, I want to say, 20-something yards that set up a third score. And when Bobby McCain was on the field, Tyreek Hill had one catch for, I want to say, like 12 yards. Tyreek Hill, one of the most explosive players in the game, was struggling with Bobby McCain on the field, helping out over the top and doing all those little things that don't pack a stat sheet and get you credit. That will tell you, watching that game, how much value he had, even if he didn't have a tackle. He was definitely, I mean, from a communication standpoint back there, from the fact that he was able to adjust and help out. I'm not saying he's as fast as Tyreek Hill, but he made some things happen when he was out there. He took a lot away in the middle of that field. There's some very big shoes to fill for Brandon Jones and Javon Holland in this defense.
And that's kind of what I felt. And so, I did the research and I looked at, to me, it's worth restructuring somebody's contract. It's worth, moving somebody else. I felt like Javon Holland got drafted. Flores got his shiny new little toy and out with the old, in with the new. And I felt that's what they did to him because to me, I'm just struggling to understand what Coach Flores is preaching because what you're preaching, you're not backing up because McCain guys are what you're preaching you want. And I just thought Holland would just have, learn from all of this. And I was just a little taken back. And I'm just kind of miffed now at what culture am I trying to follow here?
Yeah, it's tough, but at the same time, we have to remember that while he is a Flores style of player, he wasn't Flores's guy. Flores didn't bring him in. Flores inherited Bobby McCain. And
round pick 2015.
Right. It's so he wasn't necessarily Flores's guy, even though he did a lot of those things that Flores likes. And at the end of the day, Flores is always going to put the team before any individual player. And I do like that. Greer is going to put the team before any individual player. They are showing some loyalty to some players now in a smart way, but I would have preferred to see Bobby slide back into that slot and bump Needham, to be honest with you.
I kind of agree. Like I said, I just, it's just hard pill to swallow. Just really kind of like Bobby. I thought our defense was kind of molding with him and as a leader back there. So just kind of caught me off guard. But like again, I'm not much of a defensive person. You know that. I mean, Dana and I always kind of go through that. I mean, and that brings us to our next little issue. Where have all the running backs gone? Now, Paul, I'm old school. I mean, Eric Dickerson, Barry Sanders.
Oh, Barry. Okoye.
Oh, I mean, I'm like fullbacks, tailbacks. I mean, I see all these NFL announcers now that are 20, 21 years old saying, you don't draft a running back in the first round. Back in the 80s, you always tried to get a running back in the first round.
Well, I mean, back in the 80s, the running backs were built a little different, though, too.
But still, it's ground and pound. It seems like the only coach to me, except for the Tennessee Titans, who have Derrick Henry, okay, is Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, to me, you get it, Mike. Mike's still to me that kind of the ground and pound kind of thing. Now I love offenses, and Dana will tell you, I love going to the spread.
Oh yeah.
And we had the discussion a little bit about running backs. People love high scoring games, Paul. They don't like ground and pound of boring. First down. We scored. There's only 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Where if we would have gone away from that and went to a spread offense, we could have 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Well, and so I can tell you what ruined the running back position a little bit.
Okay.
It started truly with the Rams, with that just air it out, go 5 wide offense that they brought with the greatest show on turf.
Yes.
And that started to be the downfall of the running back position, because now we all know the NFL is a copycat league, and defenses are built to stop what 80% of the NFL is doing. Running backs will have their day again. They will.
It seems to circle back around, right?
It's very cyclical. The second thing that ruined the running back position, at least for now, is the Patriots in I want to say somewhere around 2010, 2011, when they drafted Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. And we'll put all the off-field stuff in a little compartment over here. But end of the day, when offenses were copycatting the Rams blueprint, which is going outside in with your receiving core, defenses got structured to stop the outside game big time. And you want to be able to make those passes. And so the Patriots went ahead and said, okay, we're going to build from the inside out and make you leave your defensive game plan. We're going to do well with some mediocre wide receivers that can't do well anywhere but here, but they do well here because everybody's focused on these 2 monsters coming out of the tight end spot. And they built inside out now. And yeah, there have been some teams that have done very well when they've been able to get that dynamic running back like an Adrian Peterson, like a Derrick Henry. And if the Titans manage to pull off a couple of rings here in the next few years with Henry at the helm, you're going to start to see teams start to mimic that blueprint, and suddenly running back's going to be the most valued position on offense again.
Yeah, and the thing is I think that they're valued now, especially towards the end of the game when you want to try to run some clock. And, if you're in that fun and gun offense, for the first 3 quarters, you should have a pretty fresh running back by the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
To try to get, try to run some of that clock since you put up 30 points on the scoreboard. So, but I mean, I think fans like it. I miss it. I miss those ground and pound kind of days. But then again, I love shootouts. I love offensive shootouts. You know that about me. I just, 31 to 30, I'll take all day.
Oh, dude, looking back at some of the Marino battles,
oh, jeez.
like, I mean, now
I couldn't even kind of tell you who our running backs were. I know we had Sammy Smith. I know we had Troy
Higgs.
Stratford. I mean,
I love me some Mark Higgs.
I haven't thought about Mark Higgs in forever. You're right.
But we ran with fullbacks too, and really, really special fullbacks that could receive out of the backfield. Guys like Tony Page, Keith Byers.
The best fullback ever.
Hey, don't discount the total package, Tony Page.
Oh, Tony Page. Oh.
I mean, it's
that's old school. I mean, that was fun. Those offenses were fun.
Well, that's one of the most fun shows I've ever done was, believe it or not, having a fullback on. I had, and I know not everybody's going to remember this name, I had his jersey, no lie, Deion Dyer.
Oh, I said Rob Conrad.
I liked Rob Conrad, but Deion Dyer, like, he was one of those unheralded fullbacks. He didn't get the ball a lot, but he and Jamie Nails paved the way for Ricky Williams. I mean, good Lord. They could smash some guys coming out of that backfield and pulling around the end.
Oh, those were some fun days.
Now, you know who was fun to watch was Pritchett.
Oh, geez. Yeah, and Fasaka Polite. You needed that 1 yard?
Yes.
Needed that 1 yard, he was there.
He sure wasn't polite when he ran into that line.
No.
But that's the thing, too. Like, you look at our running back room last year, there wasn't anybody I had faith in holding up durability-wise running between the tackles.
Well, who do we have now? I mean, we're going to obviously go with Gaskins, right? We're going to go there. It's almost like when people ask me who the Miami Dolphins running backs are, I have to think. I mean, I honestly could tell you, is Patrick Large still on the team?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, didn't get him going. But seriously, I mean, like, as far as like.
I mean, I definitely can't name off the fact that we've got, Myles Gaskins, Patrick Laird, Savon Ahmed, Jared Dokes, Will Scarlett, you name it. I mean, I can't. But here's what I like with what Miami's set up for this year. Every one of the backs they have can catch the ball out of the backfield. And Malcolm Brown. I can't forget Malcolm Brown.
Yeah, don't forget. Yes.
Right. You've got 2 running backs that can run between the tackles now, in Malcolm Brown and Jared Dokes. You've got some interesting things, but what's going to help that running back room the most here this year is the fact that you can run you can run out there with 2 tight end sets and have guys like Will Fuller, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Parker on the field, and have 2 receiving threat tight ends that are going to take the pressure off the backfield, are going to occupy some safeties, are going to occupy some linebackers. And that spreads out the defense, which opens the door for these little guys that are good in space. So you're creating space on these defenses, and then you're trotting out these running backs that are good in space. And suddenly they're going to look a whole lot more effective, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
So we're going to have 7 tight ends on the ends. We're going to have 2 running backs that can come out of the backfield and catch the ball.
Look, I would trot Christian Wilkins' big ass out there as a fullback any play.
That would be so much. That's awesome. I mean,
put Solomon Kinley in the backfield and let's go.
It only proves that the running backs are coming back. See, it's too much fun not to have them, right?
Right? God.
Anyway, so I got to wrap this up. Paul,
yeah.
Thank you. I mean, seriously, come back, please. Let's do this again. We're what? How many weeks out? We got training camp right around the corner. Rookies are already in camp now.
You
So
and look, Lisa, I'm going to tell you right now. Thank you for having me. It's anytime you guys want.
I
You guys are
appreciate
welcome with us.
Oh,
You tell me you want to do a show on here. I'm down. Like
no.
I've got nothing but love for you and Dana. It's you guys do great work over there, and like you guys want to do a show, just tell me when,
No,
and
we
we'll
should. That
make
would
it
be
happen.
fun. We should do definitely before the season or something. We should get our two shows together because vice versa. Respect the hell out of what you guys do, and love the fact that we can just talk Dolphins anytime and just dive into it. And when I was talking to Dane about doing this, I said I want to do an extended Our Turf football. Just like a Finsup edition, just to for everybody down here. And I said you were the first guy that came to my mind. I was like, I'm gonna get Paul on. There's no doubt. So I was just like, absolutely, you were definitely the first one, and thank you very much once
Anytime.
again. And so we're definitely going to do this again.
Oh yes, and
So
it's funny. I actually have a funny story with Dana. We had her on for something with the Seahawks a few years ago, I think, and or I
or
think that's
defense or defensive minded. You want to
something.
talk defense? That girl talk defense all day long with you.
Well, and she had accidentally butt dialed me while I was doing something at my sister's house. And so I call her back and, we're talking. And I think we ended up literally off a butt dial in like an hour conversation about defenses and football and what the Seahawks were doing and what the Dolphins were doing. I think we covered half the NFL. and literally looked down and went, "Oh shoot, this is the longest butt dial I've ever been on." And I love like you want to talk football, let's talk some football. Let's make it happen. Like you guys want
Absolutely.
to do this anytime, let me know.
I appreciate you and appreciate all the things you guys do. Once again, you guys make sure you get on the Fin side with Paul Pickens there, Junior. You said it was my turn. I'm calling you Junior. Mad respect for your dad. So, and I give
You
you
got
guys
you got to come up to the MetLife takeover and hang out with me and
absolutely,
him and
absolutely, Paul. Thank you so much. I look forward to it. Thank you guys for listening, and we will definitely be back during the season. Peace out.